In today's episode, we are going to be talking all about self-compassion, what it is, why we haven't been able to tap into it as a conscious collective, as a society, based on our conditioning and based on a culture that chases milestones and achievements. I'm going to be talking about how to utilize self-compassion inside your business and as you're building out your offers, connecting with your community in order to scale your business and to experience not just receiving abundance and success in your life, but sustaining it for a long period of time. In this episode, I am going to be breaking down where this comes from, how you can reframe it, and what happens when you do. Let's dive in. I'm your host, Tiffany Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Social Reset Podcast. Today, we're going to talk a lot about self-compassion and the way that you treat yourself in business. And I think this isn't talked about enough, specifically because, I believe that we're living in such a society where we are even bragging about the lack of sleep that we get if we're working so hard, the amount of hours that we stayed up one night studying for a final, the way that we have learned to neglect our mental and physical and emotional health for the sake of projects and productivity and work life, because it is what's seen as necessary in order to experience success or any financial or societal gain in our lives. And I think that because we're used to that very frigid corporate structure, or if we went to college and we were getting a degree and that was the environment we were around, or maybe it's a familial conditioning that taught us that we have to operate this way in order to earn our success. So what ends up happening when we become business owners and we go into business for ourselves and we become a mentor, guide, teacher, a coach of some sort, where we are helping to empower others around us, our clients, our community, we start self-punishing ourselves. We start getting down on ourselves for not getting the results that we want to, because we were never taught to celebrate our mistakes, only our wins. And it has built and raised us in this society where we chase milestone after milestone and we feel worthy only if and only when we experience some sort of achievement. And I think that this is particularly true for daughters and sons of immigrants, right? Our parents come to America to approach or chase the quote unquote American dream, only to find out that that doesn't exist for people of color. And they end up operating in this hustle in order to make money for their family to survive. And so as children of immigrants, we are celebrated for good grades, achievements, awards, accolades growing up. And because we get a dopamine hit every single time we see people or we see somebody receiving that recognition, or when we receive that recognition from our family and friends, we go, oh my gosh, that rush feels really good. I feel loved, right? And as children, we just want to be loved. And so it's baked into our subconscious, which our subconscious mind stops growing at the age of 7 years old. And into the rest of our lives, we keep chasing these milestones over and over and over and over. And then we get really hard on ourselves when we don't reach the rewards and the results that we want. $0, 0 clients, 0 signups, 0 followers, 0 likes. We're hard on ourselves over and over and over again. And it makes us feel defeated. It leaves us feeling overwhelmed and distressed because we continue chasing something that isn't meant to happen on a consistent basis. I've grown so much more from my mistakes, and I've learned so many more lessons, and I've bounced back 10 times harder whenever I've fallen flat on my face. And I think as a society, we have to encourage mistakes so much more often and hold space for people that are making mistakes and allow them to, instead of shaming our kids, instead of punishing our children, instead of putting them on timeout, teaching them and coaching them through knowing that their emotions are valid and holding space for them. Because when we're taught to push aside our emotions over and over again as children, we turn into adults that don't even know how to name an emotion. And we don't even know when it's coming up, when it's arising. And then we're fearful of our emotions. And then we think we need to push away all the bad emotions and just be in this toxic positivity land 24/7 that just doesn't exist because we're human beings. And because of this very rigid, very toxic, unhealthy cycle that continues to repeat itself over and over again, we go into business, we go into marketing our products, we go into building our very first offer or product or course or service, and then we are so hard on ourselves for not receiving the results that we expected. And then we spend weeks and weeks or even months reveling in this shame and guilt and beating ourselves up the way that we did or the way that we received as children because we're not getting quote unquote good results. What if we did this instead? What if we listened to our bodies and we tapped into how we felt? We listened to where that's coming from, right? Where in our bodies is this showing up? What does it feel like? What does it look like? If it had a voice, what would it say? Being really calm and kind to ourselves, giving ourselves more hugs, giving ourselves more self-compassion, talking to ourselves in a kinder voice, saying, it's okay. That's fine. That's okay. Let's think about what we learned here. Right? Or talking to our ego, our broken inner child that's just scared, that just wants to protect us and saying, hey, I know you're scared. I know you're in there. I know you're panicked. I know you're a little frustrated. I know this feels really, really big and new and different. But you know what? This is really in alignment with us. And we're going to keep going because we're meant for this. And it's going to be okay. Everything is going to turn out okay. And you're moving your body, you're shaking out your energy, you're moving around your energy, and you're able to just be. You're able to just step into this feminine flow and this version of yourself that is your higher self, rather than beating yourself up over and over and over again. I truly believe that self-compassion is a really big and major key in scaling your business. When it comes to scaling your business, growing, managing a team, building out your product suite, building out different offers, managing all of the ups and downs that come with entrepreneurship, the biggest thing that you need to have at the end of the day, and I rarely say you need anything, but this one you need, is you need to have your own back at the end of the day. You get to say to yourself, oops, period. Oops, I made a mistake. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have done that. That's all right. Maybe I just won't do that again next time. Oh man, I didn't get the result I wanted. Darn. We get to just say these things and maybe say, this sucks. This really sucks. right? We get to feel sucky for a little bit, and then we get to move on from it. We do not need to push into that shame, into that guilt, into that very wounded part of ourselves where we're going, ugh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm so stupid. Why did I think like that? Oh, I should have known better, right? The more we do that, the more unproductive we are, and the more we're causing even more harm towards ourselves. At the end of the day, not every single person is going to like us. And at the end of the day, not every single person is going to want to buy from us. And at the end of the day, not every single person is going to agree with us or even respect us. But we have to have our own backs at the end of the day. We need to have our own backs and really cultivate not just self-love, because I feel like that word or that phrase is used so often. I want it to be self-compassion. I want it to be self-kindness. I want it to be positive self-talk, right? And I want it to also be you being very real and very honest about your emotions and allowing it to just suck sometimes. It gets to just suck. But the more you're able to treat yourself the way that you would treat a friend, a client, a family member, a loved one, rather than someone that is your enemy, you are not your own enemy. The way that we talk to ourselves, we would never say those same things to a beloved client on a coaching call. I know it, you know it. I know a bunch of coaches and entrepreneurs and course creators that are following me and listening to this podcast. And I know you guys because we talk in the DMs. You comment on my stuff. I comment on yours. I support your business. You support my business. And I know that you would never say the things that you say to yourself to a client on a call. So why do we treat ourselves like this? Why are we so hard on ourselves? Where does this come from? I think identifying that voice, because a lot of the times it is a voice that belongs to somebody from our past or someone that was in close connection to us. Maybe it's coming from a parent. Maybe that voice belongs to an ex-partner or an ex-friend. Maybe it belongs to somebody that was really toxic in your life, or even maybe a toxic leader that you no longer follow. These are all so valid, but the more that you're able to be aware of where this voice comes from when you are operating in this negative, unhealthy, and unproductive self-talk, the more you're able to reframe that into a voice where you can build a deeper, healthier, more loving, and more committed relationship with yourself, where you trust yourself. You trust yourself. And sometimes when you make mistakes, you lose trust, but you can also reframe that in a way where you build even more trust. Nothing has meaning until we attach meaning to it. And so the more we're able to identify how we feel, why we feel the way that we feel, allowing ourselves to feel what we feel, and then being able to move on from it. Be kind to ourselves about it. Practice self-compassion the way that you would to a client, a friend, a loved one, the way that you do to them, to yourself. And I think that once you're able to do that, and once you're able to be okay with making mistakes, maybe more so than the people around you, the more you'll be able to scale your business in a way that feels good to you, because no longer are you building a business out of shame and feeling dreaded and operating in the hustle and operating in lack and just feeling icky about everything, and then feeling overwhelmed at the end of the day going, oh, gotta do all this again tomorrow. Oh my God, I barely got through today. That's not a way to build a business. It's not. And I know this because I worked 10, 11, 12-hour days, gave myself vertigo, literally dizzy, lightheaded, almost passing out on the floor because I was staring at a screen all day long, not giving myself an inch of time to eat or rest or sleep or even spend time with my daughter at some times, because I was literally driving myself into the ground with the value and the belief and the negative self-talk and the non-self-trust that was driving me into this hustle of I need to do this or I'm going to lose out on that, or making things mean something that they didn't mean at all. And I think once you're able to be very, very aware of what's going on inside your mind and what belief systems and values that you're holding on to, the more you're able to go, okay, I am no longer subscribing to that. I am no longer picking up that story and making it my own. I'm no longer picking up somebody else's boulders and putting them inside my backpack and then trudging up this uphill battle. I get to rest. I give myself permission to recharge. I give myself permission to take a step back and experience freedom and expansion and abundance in my life. And I think when you're able to give yourself the ability to do that and actually rest, like actually rest, not just spending the entire time thinking that you should be resting and enjoying your rest, but just feeling guilty the entire time, really doing deeper healing work around that, deeper mindset work around that, deeper belief work around that, in order to not just receive abundance, but really sustain it. And that's the difference. And there is a difference. There is. And this is important and this is powerful, which is why I break this down way further and teach you how to incorporate this into your specific life based on your human design, based on your gifts, your talents, your abilities, your past. It doesn't matter where you're at in business or if you are wanting to start your own business. My academy is designed for you. It's a very much choose your own adventure type of program that's going to be offered in both a self-learning ability and a group coaching ability. So if you're interested, this is launching in August. I talk all about showing up through the energetics, through your human design, in your business in a way that feels good, that is purposeful, that lights you up and doesn't drive you into the ground. Because I've been there and I've seen it and I've seen different courses and I've operated in different strategies. And I can tell you the best strategy is the one that you create for yourself. And that's what I teach you to do. So if you're interested, I am going to put the waitlist link inside the show notes. It's also going to be in the link in my bio on Instagram. I am at tiffanychung.co. So you can check it out in either places or DM me if you have any other questions. I'm really excited about this. I'm going to do a lot of behind the scenes work and just share a lot in not just future podcast episodes, but also on Instagram as I'm continuing to build out, create, and launch this academy. But if you're interested, you can sign up and be among the first to know when it launches, updates, all of that good stuff. So if you enjoyed this episode, if this shifted your perspective on showing up in your business, marketing, scaling your business, being more compassionate to yourself, let me know. I want to hear it. I want to hear what practices you are going to be incorporating and embodying inside your business and inside your life in order to truly step into that higher self version of you that so deserves to be running your life rather than operating in ego or hustle or lack, because we both know that you are here to live out your wildest fucking fantasies and dreams. All right, I will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.